Hi everybody, I'm Paula and this is Misha, my 2.5-year-old Bichon. And I do recipes since 2016 on home cooking for your dog. But today's video, I want to convince you not to home cook for your dog, specifically if you have a puppy. And the reason I'm doing this, the other day somebody DM'd me and she said, oh, I've been watching all your videos about home cooking and I'm getting a puppy in a few weeks and I can't wait to do your recipes. And I got back to her and I said, no, none of my recipes are for puppies. And I explained to her that I have home cooked for 16 years for my 2 other Bichons. Back then, I didn't know what I've learned over the years and how important it is to put the right foods in and what foods not to put in dog food. It just horrifies me when I see these YouTube videos where these creators have millions of followers and their recipe consists of mostly rice and a little beef, no organ meat, and tons of vegetables. That's not how you home cook for a dog. And then they'll come back to you and say, oh yeah, we put in a synthetic vitamin pack. To me, knowing now what I know now that I didn't know then, it's important for me to feed this little guy that I got when he was 4 months old. He's 2.5 years old now. It's important to me as much as possible to do whole foods, to get the vitamins through whole foods and not to use synthetic vitamins. And why is that? It hasn't been proven that synthetic vitamins are bioavailable for a dog. And what that means is if you give them a vitamin, their little system doesn't know what to do with the vitamins. So if you're just doing a recipe that has beef and God forbid rice and some broccoli and carrots, and then you put in a vitamin pack because they need all those other vitamins, they're not going to get that. But I also told her that puppies, nobody should be home cooking for a puppy, okay? Unless you're going to do what I did. I reached out to a vet that I was following for several years. And, you know, vets and some nutritionalists, and I have studied canine nutrition, but I have not invested in a computer program that tells you exactly what you need in the diet. I'm embarrassed to say, I spent $400 to get, I think, one recipe. Here it is. Let me show it to you. I'm not, okay. Guess how many ingredients were in this one recipe for this little guy when he was a puppy? 22 ingredients. And that's because I told the vet I do not want to do synthetic vitamins. And there's certain things, there's zinc and choline and other vitamins that are going to be lacking in your home cooked meal. And for a puppy, you need to feed a puppy 3 times a day. What are you looking at for around the first year on average for dogs? And it needs to have extra nutrients in them because they're growing at such an exponential growth. They're growing so quickly that they need the extra nutrients. So what I got overwhelmed, and I did this home cooked recipe that I paid for so much money. I could kick myself now for doing it, for paying the money for it. But what I got overwhelmed with, of the 22 ingredients, there were several that I didn't like or I couldn't source. One was oysters. Well, I went ahead, I'll put him down. I got canned oysters, but I have this thing, if I'm not gonna eat it, I don't want my dog to eat it, and I don't do oysters. Another very important one was spleen. And I really thought, because I live out here amongst many farms, I could not get spleen. I called many farmers. They don't even have it at the processing center. I don't know what the processing center does with spleen. So that I couldn't get that. And then for you, I don't know where you live, but Liver and heart are essential in a home-cooked meal. For me, I could get it, but you may not be able to get it. And of course, you need to have a calcium source, a bone meal. So I made this recipe a few times, and I said, I don't want to do it, basically, because I wanted to do it right with whole foods. So I exhausted myself and to find an alternative for this little guy. And at 6 months, and I'm going to give you a coupon, it'll be in the comments. At 6 months, I started him on Steve's Real Food, okay? And it comes in frozen raw or freeze-dried raw. I would not suggest to get the frozen raw. First of all, I am not a raw feeder. For many different reasons. And on a side note, my daughter called me the other day and her refrigerator died. And the first thing I thought was she had bought $200 worth of frozen home-cooked food. And I'm like, oh my God, we have to save this food somehow. So that's one reason, because your electricity can go out for many different reasons. This is shelf-stable. It's freeze-dried raw. And for a puppy, you could go on the food calculator on their website, and based on their weight and their age, it'll tell you how much food to give and how much water to rehydrate it for. So let me just show you, beef is their #1 seller for protein. And if you don't know, when you read the ingredients on the back of the bag, it's listed from the most to the least. So the first ingredient here is beef, okay? I can't read backwards. The second ingredient, it goes beef heart, liver, and kidney. I mean, you can't get better than that. And then it has, broccoli and carrots and goat's milk and New Zealand green lipid mussels. This is just fantastic. He ate this, and he's still eating it, for his first 2 years of life. I got him at 4 months. The first 2 months I home cooked, and then I got him this. I still feed him this. I do rotate in some other foods that I buy, because I'm too tired to home cook, that I feel is epic as well. Homemade, that comes frozen. But he gets this the majority of the time. I rotate between the beef, the turkey, and the turducken. I do not do the chicken, because I just don't do full chicken for my dog. So you can click on the link to save 30%, and the coupon code is Cut the Kibble. Let me know if you have any questions.